Welcome to the Workforce Advantage, where thought leaders and innovators shape the workforce of tomorrow.
What if your contact center could turn every customer interaction into a competitive advantage? Hi, I'm your host, Tim Dupree. In this episode of the Workforce Advantage, we're driving into the world of contact centers and uncovering how KellyConnect, a division of Kelly, leverages its best-in-class processes to provide outstanding experience to contact centers, their customers, and talent. So joining us today is Brian Poelman, Senior Director and Vice President, KellyConnect, who brings a wealth of expertise in empowering contact centers to deliver top-tier customer service in an increasingly competitive landscape. The conversation is going to be packed with insights to help you elevate customer experiences and workforce solutions, so let's get started. Hi, Brian. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Can you start by sharing a little bit about your role at Kelly?
Sure. Yeah, I joined the Kelly family dating back to 2012. And prior to that, grew up in the call center, if you will, in various roles and responsibilities. So when I joined Kelly, it was right at the beginning of our branding, the KellyConnect piece of the business, which is, in fact, the outsource call center provider piece of the business. My role is in the account management space, which entails, relationships with our clients, looking to maintain and grow those relationships. And I'm also in charge of the service delivery, so making sure we're delivering on what we promised those clients. So I've been doing that since 2012, and it's been quite the ride.
So you got a big remit. Thanks for that. Let's shift into today's topic, going beyond the traditional remote work model to strike the right balance between delivering exceptional experience for clients, their customers, and talent. Remote work has become a staple, almost in every contact center space. So what sets KellyConnect apart?
Yeah, you're right. Remote work has really become the norm, or at least hybrid work. KellyConnect was an early adopter of working from home. So dating back to 2010, that was kind of our unique proposition to the market, is that we can and do hire and retain and operate from home. So with that, KellyConnect was born from Kelly Services, which is a talent management focused company. So really right out of the gate, our priority and our focus had been on the talent side. As we worked with our partners in staffing call centers, we soon realized that there's an opportunity to work with them to improve their processes and maybe even step in and manage the outcomes of those processes. And so that's really how we've evolved differently than just coming to market as a full solved solution in the call center space. So our focus on talent, virtual out of the gate, and then our focus has really been on customizing solutions for our clients and working with them, not just the peoples and processes, but with the technologies that are appropriate to deliver the outcomes that they're looking for.
Brian, I love your comment around people first or talent first. I think that's a really important point around how KellyConnect differentiates itself in the marketplace. So thanks for that. Since most customer support professionals already work remotely, how do you recreate that water cooler experience and ensure that they have the same career growth opportunities they'd have in an in-person setting?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think when people think of working from home or working remotely, they immediately think of isolation and the inability to interact or to get to know your coworkers and whatnot. Having lived in this space for as long as I have, I argue quite the opposite. In fact, I've found that because of the nature of being remote, you have to be very intentional about interacting with folks and very structured, have the right sort of meetings and tools and chat rooms or whatnot available to you. And in that setting, believe it or not, you get to know people at a different level and maybe even more intimately than just passing them in the hallway and recognizing a face, but not really knowing their role or where they fit into the puzzle here. You mentioned water cooler. I mean, we deploy an intranet site that essentially acts as our break room or lobby or bulletin board. That's where we all meet and convene and communicate, not just business related things, but just shooting the breeze and get to know each other and how was your weekend and that sort of thing. And that's real important. And in a remote environment, that water cooler is on your desktop. You're not away from your work. It's there 24/7. So you're just immersed in that sort of environment. And then in the call center world, we actually have a role that's called our engagement coordinator, and her whole role is to ensure that not only running recognition and rewards programs, but making sure that people are engaging on a different level, sharing recipes or, just put the fun into the workplace so you feel engaged. And that's been a real win for us. And I think if you ask most anyone on our team, they feel as close, if not closer to their coworkers than they have in prior engagements.
So, Brian, what I'm hearing from you, creating a sense of connection, belonging is a big focus for you. I guess along those lines, the hiring experience plays a key role in setting the tone from the start. How has virtual recruiting changed the way contact centers find and hire top talent?
Yeah, it's enhanced it immensely. As you can imagine, traditional call centers have all been kind of brick and mortar sites, and you get to hire people, maybe 15 miles away or so. And so you're limited in a geographical sense in where you can go find talent. Um, of course, virtual work uh, it removes all those barriers. So there are no geographical restrictions. So you're free to go find the best talent wherever they might be. And also you're free to look at the demographics of various regions and states and cities and determine where you can find that talent at the best price point as well. So that's a win for us. It's a win for our clients, and we get to find people who are ready and willing to work in that environment. And then the other thing I think that does is allow a redundancy of if system issues or if there's a natural disaster or whatnot, you can shift volumes across different time zones even. So follow the sun's type of shift schedules. And so you get to offer more preferable shifts and so forth. So anyway, I'm a big advocate of the benefits of hiring and working virtually.
So in that description you just gave, you mentioned the strength of Kelly's recruiting expertise and the ability to quickly tap into, a talent pool anywhere throughout the country. That kind of agility can be a pretty significant differentiator, especially in today's fast-moving environment. Can you share an example of when virtual recruiting has allowed you to respond faster than maybe other organizations?
Absolutely. The example that comes to mind and I like to use is years ago we engaged with a insurance company client of ours. So we were doing some staffing work for them, and unfortunately, they had to react to a natural disaster that took place that had a lot of people in a frenzy and required some immediate attention. So we partnered with them, as you can imagine, hiring and training people on the fly and getting them ready to answer tough questions about what to expect and so forth. Our virtual footprint allowed us to reach out and actually hire people within that region, which was beneficial because they were impacted themselves, and so they had some empathy right out of the gate in wanting to provide that service. Also, Kelly Services, we were able to leverage our localized strategies and engaging our branches to help us get the right amount of people uh, working from home remotely and deploy the training and really quickly ramp that up. Now you can imagine brick and mortar wouldn't allow that. There'd be constraints in training room sizes and even the ability to house people. So again, the remote model really helped us stand up for that client and in a short amount of time get it running and then ramp it down fairly quickly as well when that situation resolved.
Thanks for that, Brian. Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned that KellyConnect blends traditional contact center expertise with workforce solutions to deliver strong end-to-end experience for clients and the consumers that are calling. In your view, what sets KellyConnect's approach apart from other providers in the space?
Yeah, that's a fair question because we get that a lot. We don't present to the market necessarily out of the gate as, hey, we are a fully baked outsource provider. We've got the recipe, and we're going to go sell that package to clients and see if it fits with what their needs are. Since we grew from staffing, we already have a relationship with a lot of our clients, and we earn their trust at one level, and then layer on top of that what we refer to as maybe staffing plus. Hey, we'll staff your folks, but we'll also manage them. Maybe we'll manage them on site or virtually, um, and then that evolves into a virtuous cycle of trust, if you will, where they allow us more and more opportunity to show how we can help them solve their problem, not shop our wares and hope that it fits into what their needs are. So we've taken that approach. We've got the professionals and the call center experience in our court, as well as the technologies that it takes to be able to deliver those services and layer on whatever elements of that technology makes sense for that client.
Technology. So you give me a great lead into my next question, particularly with AI and automation. So with AI advancing so rapidly, many businesses feel the pressure to adopt AI or risk falling behind. How is this affecting the contact center space, and what is Kelly Connect strategy moving forward?
Yeah, Tim, I like how you said both AI and automation because they're very different. And I think, at least in our industry, that's been conflated a lot over the last few years AI was all the buzz a few years ago, and you had to really jump and be at the ready and talk the talk of AI. Whereas the call center has been consistent in introducing automation throughout its history, right? So AI is a little different, AI is very exciting. AI can be revolutionary to this industry, but I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit because as soon as people say AI, they jump from A to Z thinking, oh, that's going to immediately replace the people or the need for staffing those call centers. Is certainly not the case. There's a lot of promising AI, and only recently, I think, has it been adopted in the call center space with some success. And a lot of what is meant by artificial intelligence in our world is is positioned to assist the frontline advisor, assist the back office, assist the leadership in organizing and prioritizing what needs to be addressed, not necessarily replacing the frontline agents with a bot. That day is coming, and that day is today, and a lot of people are doing that. At Kelly, what we've been able to do is stay on top and recognize the advantages of the technologies, but we're not necessarily at the forefront in creating or deploying those technologies as something that is a priority to us. Because again, we are more interested in partnering with our clients in solving what their needs are. And if that means AI can be deployed, great. We have the wherewithal to do that. We have the tools in place, but we're not necessarily developing those or on the bleeding edge, if you will. But we're certainly aware and adopting the right types of technologies for the right types of clients.
That makes perfect sense, Brian. So, with technology evolving so rapidly, partnering with an industry expert like you and your team seems like a great way to ensure you're delivering the most effective solutions. Moving forward, Kelly Connect serves a wide range of industries from healthcare to tech and beyond. How do the unique needs of the different industries that you serve shape the solutions you provide to the best possible customer experience?
Yeah, you're exactly right. We do not, again, we don't use a cookie cutter approach, if you will. We don't simply hire the same sorts of people and to service different industries. For example, you mentioned healthcare. We do service some high-end healthcare customers that require a high touch approach. So we would hire and train people at a much different level. There's examples where we help people monitor their medical devices. And you can imagine the sensitivities around the demographics and maybe the ages and the sensitivities around what they're dealing with from a health standpoint. We need real professionals in those seats doing that kind of work. In fact, there's one program where we assist doctors in the operating room, live and in the operating room with diagnosis of or troubleshooting of the machines and so forth. So those are cases of true life and death cases. Now that varies differently from maybe a consumer product support of, or changing a password or whatnot. So again, we would just adapt our approach for what the client's defined scope would be. Now, what's important for all of these, or what's common with all of these, is how can we improve the process in things like first call resolution or the timeliness or the speed by which we accomplish things. So the effectiveness and the efficiency, those are standard foundational type of objectives, but different industries require different approaches.
That's very helpful and actually a great segue to our last question. I would love to hear a success story where KellyConnect has helped a client achieve those significant improvements in their contact center operations.
Absolutely, sure. I've got a good one because I live it every day. we engage with the technology client, and they are known for coming out with new products every year. So there's a real seasonality to their business. So and a lot of excitement prior to these press releases or announcements to the world of what their new technology is going to be. So when we first engaged with them, they asked us to help them out with the seasonality by standing up a brick and mortar call center, traditional call center, hiring hundreds of people, training them quickly over 3 or 4 weeks, and then having them at the ready to take that seasonal volume. As you can imagine, that was met with mixed results, right? Because you've got new people, new product, new processes, and then ramp it all down. So in partnering with this client, we were able to position a strategy with them that we've branded Instaflex. So what we did is we agreed with them to maintain hundreds of agents at the ready and all year round, so that they would have a baseline and an experience. What am I searching for? They would have the tenure and experience necessary to deliver the quality experience. So we would hire and train them, but only staff them at about 32 hours a week. So they'd maintain their full-time status and all the benefits that go along with that. But when the seasonality hit, there'd be a 6 to 8 week period where we'd staff them up to at least 40 hours, most likely beyond 40 hours for a short period of time. So you can imagine at scale, when you have 500 agents all increasing their work time, that's a win across the board, because the client then gets the benefit of a seasoned and ready-made solution. And so that model has worked well for us, and we've been engaged with that client ever since, and grown our footprint with them 20% a year over year for last 8 or 10 years.
Brian, thanks so much for your time today. This has been very insightful and helpful to our audience, I'm sure.
Sure.
That's it for this episode of the Workforce Advantage. Thanks again to our guest, Brian Poelman, for joining me to explore how KellyConnect works and illuminating the process for providing great experiences for clients, their customers, and talent. I'd also like to thank our audience for listening in, and don't forget to subscribe to the show so you don't miss the next episode. I'm Tim Dupree. Until next time, stay ahead of the curve and make your workforce work for you.